Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. Finally, Luffy's final training is about to begin, which could even lead to a new time skip where we will see power-ups never seen before in the history of One Piece, and we will witness this in today's video. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. I think that since Rayleigh started training Luffy during the time skip, there has always been a question about how far his learning would go. After all, Rayleigh himself said that Luffy would only learn the basics in 2 years, and that after that, he would have to evolve on his own. But if there's one thing that One Piece has shown us repeatedly, it's that training never stops, and the arrival of Gaban in the story could be the next step in that learning. Perhaps, who knows, what Rayleigh started, Gaban will finish. Chapter 1139, which formally introduces Gaban, confirms that he has been in Elbaf for a long time, and that, in addition to being a legend, he also plays an important role in the kingdom's history. This raises some possibilities. First, Gaban didn't just sit around all these years. He might have honed his skills, learned new techniques, and perhaps even developed a new fighting style. After all, we're talking about someone considered the left-hand man of the Pirate King, someone on Rayleigh's level. Second, not only does he know Elbaf well, but he is also aware of the threat Loki represents. This means he probably understands that Luffy still has much to learn before moving forward. If we look at how Rayleigh trained Luffy, we see that the main focus was hockey. Luffy learned the basics of observation hockey, armament hockey, and even began to grasp a bit of conqueror's hockey. But today, after defeating Kaido, Luffy has mastered all these levels and even unlocked advanced hockey. So, what could Gaban teach Luffy that Rayleigh didn't? Perhaps the answer lies in what was said in chapter 1139. Gaban was a warrior who devastated an entire mountain by himself. This suggests that he may have developed a unique fighting style based on pure destruction and brute force. Perhaps he has a more brutal and offensive use of hockey that even Rayleigh didn't employ. If we remember the fight against Kaido, we see that Luffy still relies heavily on his devil fruit to win, and a fighting style focused purely on hockey could be the key to facing opponents who neutralize Akuma no Mi, like Teach. We've always wondered why Rayleigh didn't teach Luffy advanced hockey and other techniques that could have been used by the Pirate King himself. If Roger was one of the strongest people in the world without even possessing a devil fruit, then his true strength must have been in his absolute mastery of hockey, something that, as far as we know, Luffy did not receive complete training to achieve. This always lingered in the air, as if Rayleigh was holding something back, as if there was more for Luffy to learn than what was shown during the time skip. Now, with the arrival of Gaban, everything begins to make sense. The training could have a part 2, and perhaps this second stage was just waiting for the right moment to happen. Rayleigh prepared Luffy to survive in the new world, but not to reach the top. Luffy learned the basics of observation hockey, armament hockey, and an initial understanding of conqueror's hockey. But the more advanced applications of these skills were only discovered and developed by him in the heat of battle. It was like that with the advanced destructive hockey he used against Kaido, and with the infusion of conqueror's hockey that took him to another level. But what if Roger had more secret techniques? And what if Rayleigh, knowing that Luffy wasn't ready to learn everything all at once, left this task for another of Roger's right-hand men? Gaban could be the man entrusted with finishing this training. The fact that Gaban has appeared now and right in Elbaf cannot be a coincidence. Elbaf has long been associated with concepts of brute force, overwhelming hockey, and a tradition of warriors who could rival even the legendary pirates themselves. If Gaban chose this place to live for over 20 years, perhaps it was precisely because he knew that one day the true successor of Roger's legacy would appear there. And it's even more symbolic that he directly challenged Luffy. Unlike Rayleigh, who already knew who Luffy was and decided to train him because of his potential, Gaban wants to test that potential first. He wants to see with his own eyes if Luffy truly deserves to carry on the will of the former Pirate King. Chapter 1139 has already established that Gaban was a monster in combat, someone capable of wiping out hundreds of pirates alone while protecting Roger. This means he mastered a unique fighting style, possibly using advanced hockey in ways we've never seen before. The nickname Mountain Devourer might be a hint that he used destructive hockey, perhaps even superior to Rayleigh's. Additionally, there's an important detail. His main weapon was always an axe, which could indicate that he masters a completely different fighting style from Roger and Rayleigh, but equally lethal. Luffy, who has already fought sword staff and other weapon users, has never fought a true master of the axe. This battle could be essential for Luffy to understand new ways to apply his own hockey and take his strength to the final level. If we look at Luffy's learning patterns, it makes perfect sense that he needs this new training now. During the fight against Kaido, Luffy reached Gear 5 and awakened his devil fruit, making him ridiculously powerful, but he is still not at the maximum level. Kaido himself himself said that Haki is superior even to the powers of the Akuma no Mi. This means that if Luffy really wants to overcome all obstacles and become the Pirate King, he needs absolute mastery of Haki. And who better to teach him than another of Roger's right-hand men? A man who lived alongside the world's strongest and has now decided to personally test Luffy. The most interesting part is that this second part of the training may have been planned from the beginning. Rayleigh may have only taught Luffy what was necessary to survive, leaving the advanced training to Gaban, who was waiting for the right moment to intervene. And now that Luffy is closer to the One Piece than ever, perhaps it's time to learn the secrets that made Roger invincible without needing a devil fruit. This encounter with Gaban could be the final piece that's missing for Luffy to reach the true level of the Pirate King. Another interesting point from chapter 1139 is the fact that Gaban is testing Luffy. He didn't just hand over the key, he challenged Luffy to take it from him. This reminds me a lot of how Rayleigh started the training, attacking Luffy with swords to make him awaken observation. Perhaps this is Gaban's way of measuring how far Luffy has come, and if he sees any flaws or areas for improvement, he might decide to train him. After all, Gaban clearly has respect for Roger, and if he sees potential in Luffy as a successor, it wouldn't be surprising for him to want to mold him further. The chapter also raises an important detail: Gaban's past. The brief flashback with Roger and Rayleigh shows that he was one of the most rational voices in the group. He would warn Roger about the dangers and try to make him understand the risks. This means that Gaban is not just a strong warrior, but also a strategist. Rayleigh trained Luffy to survive in the New World, but could Gaban teach him to think like a true captain? Many argue that Luffy is already a great leader, but we still see moments where he makes decisions purely on impulse without considering all the variables. If Gaban has this more tactical side, he could help Luffy become a more complete Pirate King. Now, speaking of the setting, we cannot ignore that all of this is happening in Elbaf. This is the place where the legends of great warriors are born, where giants train to become the strongest in the world. If there's any place where Luffy can refine his skills to the fullest, it's here. Gaban, having been in Elbaf for so long, may have learned something about the warrior culture of the giants. And if he incorporates that into Luffy's training, the result could be incredible. Think about how the strength of the giants has been portrayed in history, like Oars, who alone was an army. Now imagine Luffy refining his Gear 5 with that kind of knowledge. He could become something entirely new. If Gaban really is Luffy's next master, then we are about to witness training that could redefine his power once again. Unlike Rayleigh, who focused on the basics of Haki, Gaban might be the one to teach the true strength of a Pirate King, the ability to fight any enemy without relying on a devil fruit. And that makes perfect sense. Roger himself never needed a fruit to face and defeat opponents like Whitebeard, Rocks, and the admirals of his time. If there's a secret knowledge about Haki that only the greatest warriors possess, Gaban could be the last guardian of that secret. What's interesting about this possibility is that it fills a gap in Luffy's journey. We've always wondered why Rayleigh didn't teach him everything, why the training seemed incomplete. Now, we realize that maybe this was the plan all along. Rayleigh prepared him to enter the New World, but Gaban might prepare him to conquer its peak. And the choice of Elbaf as the setting for this last step is not random. This is the realm of the world's most feared warriors, the birthplace of a tradition of absolute strength. Here, Luffy can finally understand the true limit of Haki and learn to fight like the legendary pirates of the past. If the confrontation with Gaban is truly a test, then perhaps Luffy is about to face the greatest challenge of his life. But if he passes, if he proves he is worthy, then we could be witnessing the birth of the definitive version of the future Pirate King. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.